Hi, Dave here, and this is a new episode of the Art Review series. And this time we'll be taking a look at the work of Eric Gagnon. Now, Eric is a senior concept artist slash art director. So we'll be starting with his kind of last piece in his ArtStation portfolio and work our way towards his first kind of presented piece in his portfolio. So I actually do like Eric Gagnon because, again, in terms of style, he does have a more impressionistic look. Although he does have a few pieces where, even though you can tell it's kind of painted, it's pretty tight, or not tight, but he does use quite a few photos, but he doesn't blend them the way others do. It's more stylistic and it's actually quite pleasing to the eye because it's more smooth and more kind of futuristic in a way. So we'll start with this piece, some kind of winter soldier attack. I believe it's a cancelled project of his. And yeah, as you can see, with in terms of style, he does have that kind of impressionistic kind of method. Very impressionistic brushstrokes, and you can actually see the strokes, and that's kind of a key kind of signature of the impression. Well, it's not the key, but it's a characteristic of impressionistic kind of work, where they're not really afraid of showing off the strokes. It's really about the impression, which I'm more inclined to do. And you can tell that he's more of a painter, what to do. Like, and look at the way he presented the kind of flash bangs from the gun. I mean, that's just a kind of a blob right there. And even the helicopter is left very vague. But again, you can kind of tell it's a shit. Forgot the kind of name for this helicopter. Anyway. So yeah, very awesome. Now this piece is actually kind of 1280 perhaps by 720 or something. Oh no, this is a kind of a cinematic kind of frame, but I do notice that some artists do kind of post their work in a frame or any kind of size that's pretty small, around 1280, around that range. And I think it does help to kind of tighten up the entire piece, because it's not kind of meant to be viewed full screen. So I think that's why some pros do it. So yeah. So this is a futuristic tower in the north. Now this is a very old concept, done 10 years ago. Very interesting. Wow. And he does use kind of at least for this piece, a kind of brushy type of brush, meaning you can kind of see the strokes. It does have a kind of you can see a few of the hairs per se in this thing, but in his kind of later or present kind of work, he uses a more clean kind of brush type. I'm not sure what it is, but it's more clean. It doesn't have as much texture. It's kind of similar to Sparth's work, the Sparth guy. I forgot his name, his actual name, but his kind of pen name is Sparth. And both of them do have this kind of clean kind of work. So this one is more of his one of his old concepts for some very big trees, I believe. So yeah, he did use some kind of photos here in the kind of foreground, and then kind of an impression of a guy to kind of indicate the scale of the guy compared to the kind of trees. So I can see it. Yeah, makes sense. Now this was done several years ago. It was a submission at Spectrum magazine, and he does focus a lot on sci-fi stuff, or at least that's more apparent in his work. The more sci-fi, futuristic kind kind of themes and concepts. So here you can actually see his kind of although this is an old concept of this kind of style of painting where you can actually kind of see that this kind of effect or approach hasn't died. Like, it has remained with him in 10 years, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how old this concept is, but yeah, you can kind of see the kind of not so detailed work, and it's very painterly. And it's not like brushy in the sense that it's very kind of dynamic. It's a little kind of focused painting, almost gouache-like in nature. Like it's tighter, not tighter in the sense that it's more detailed, but tighter in terms of shape. Like, it's easier to distinguish the shapes and stuff, and even some of the kind of interior shapes within the kind of major shapes. Hopefully I'm explaining that well enough. Here's another example of that. So this is another concept of this. It's kind of this in the same project and stuff, kind of a mineral mining facility in the Arctic. So you can actually, I do like this aesthetic of showing the brushes and not having it look so detailed and even realistic. And I don't know, it just appeals to me. And you can see he did use, I don't think he used a lot of brushes here. And he's not the opacity type of painter like say Anthony Jones. He does use, or does like to use, the kind of circle brush with some transparency, or with the transfer mode or option on in the kind of brush settings. But this guy Eric is more of a gouache, I feel. Kind of a gouache type approach where it's more opaque. And yeah. And you can see some texture here a little bit. It doesn't use it as much. And it's more flat. It's pretty close to kind of a flat illustration. And yep. So this one is a speed paint. I'm not sure how recent this was, but this was posted 8 months ago. So yeah. So this one actually does, it's a little more painterly, and there's a little more texture. And I'm not sure if he posted, I'm not sure if this Eric guy, I should have researched this, but maybe he did have a DeviantArt account, because I did find or see one of his works there before. So kind of a breakdown of his process. So I think it does have more painterly stuff, but I think he wants to settle on a kind of style. Now this one is a little, if you can see the kind of brush strokes, it's kind of clean. Clean is in the sense that it doesn't have as much kind of a breakup or texture. It's smoother in a way. I mean, he did use kind of a photo texture in the bottom for the kind of a ground texture, kind of a photo bash, a quick one. But yeah, he heavily paints. He doesn't use a lot of kind of photo bashing techniques. Rarely he does that. I mean, later on you'll see he does use it, but he kind of overwhelms the photo bashing with his painting, and eventually the photos eventually kind of disappear, which is very, very impressive. So this one is a ship, an exploration concept of perhaps a crashed ship. And I love the glare right here. It's pretty bright. And again, the strokes are very, very impressionistic. And it is kind of sparse-like in nature. Okay. Oh shit, I forgot to drag. Drag. I do like this one more. Yes. Next. Ooh, next. So this is actually one of his mech concepts. Not sure how long this was, but as you can see with this painting, he does have that clean look again, and he doesn't really clean up his edges as much. It's just enough to kind of tell that, or to separate the mech between the background. Um, but yeah, it's very impressionistic. Very dabby, where he just kind of dabs the paint. I'm not sure how to explain that, but he's not very tight with his work, which is something that I'm inclined to do, not be tight with my work. So here again, this is more painterly and stuff. He does use a few bird brushes, I guess. Tweet, tweet, tweet. And for the sky, he did use some kind of a big textured brush for the sky. And for this actual rock, it does look more painterly, not very clean. I mean, he is generally painterly like this, in this kind of fashion. But there's another kind of painterly where you can kind of see the breakup in the strokes. And you can see those kind of streaks of hairs, I guess. And this one will look more painterly and more oil-like in nature for me. So this one isn't actually as clean. He does use some kind of texture. Oh, this guy, by the way, Eric, does a lot of environments, ships especially. Well, not ships especially, but mostly environments. But he does dabble in kind of ships and mech stuff. Usually ships. He just likes ships. Yeah. And as you can see, it's very not abstract, but impressionistic. And he's also pretty good with the kind of lighting effects. And I think that's why he's kind of really competent in sci-fi stuff, especially kind of interior lighting effects. You can see in his kind of later work that he's just kind of in a different level. And oof, drag. So this is an arrival of some ship, and again, this one is kind of sparse-like, right? The kind of design, it's kind of sparse-like. So again, these are some kind of mechs. Okay. And you can see kind of simplified the kind of skyline there with the kind of buildings and stuff. And as you can see, this one is more clean, not very brushy or painterly. Although it is, again, it's painterly in the sense that he doesn't use a lot of photos. He's pretty confident with laying down paint, but the actual brush is fairly clean and it doesn't have as much hair in the kind of edges. So this one is a haunted house entrance, a concept exploration. Now he does do kind of this, he does have a few of these where I'm not sure how to classify this kind of work, fantasy. But yeah, you can tell this one is more painterly. You can see the kind of breaks, and it makes sense for this kind of theme. Ooh. Drag it. So this one is apparently a very oldish concept. He writes in the side oldish, of a futuristic soldier. Again, you can see his strokes, especially with the hand, with the gun. Very impressionistic. And I do like this kind of work because you don't have to kind of figure everything out and kind of detail everything. You're kind of just giving an impression, a gist, or it's a little more than a gist, but it's more, it communicates the essential idea, you know. I'd rather let someone do the kind of detail work, honestly, so yeah. So this is one of the first concepts he did for a Deus Ex Human Revolution. So I think he does know how to use 3D, like a Blender and SketchUp and stuff. So I think he did use 3D here. Or maybe not. I mean, who knows? I mean, if we check out his kind of following works, shit, it says here software used Photoshop. So I think it is quite possible to create something like this in Photoshop, right? I mean, again, he's pretty good with the kind of interior lighting and stuff, and not just interiors. Anything that has to do with lighting, he's kind of a pro in this thing. So we'll just drag that to the side. Okay, so this again, software used is Photoshop. And you know what? I can actually see that this is a Photoshop kind of thing. Because the perspective isn't as clean compared to if this was done in 3D. And you can see it in the kind of edges, in the kind of railing here. But again, he can kind of, he can kind of suggest it pretty well. And it looks pretty fucking realistic. Oh shit! So he's pretty good in photo bashing also, and you can even see the kind of lighting. This is just kind of a manual kind of thing, using the shift key, maybe with the soft brush, and yeah. Shit. You can even see, oh shit! Okay. Here he did say that he used Photoshop and SketchUp. So maybe he did use SketchUp in these, but he didn't include the SketchUp software in the software use kind of part. So yeah, so he does maybe use a kind of base, and you can kind of see it. It's not as clean, so he does use some kind of base probably. And you can even see here, it's not as clean, but the concept is there, and it's so convincing. And even the gradients, the way the light hits the kind of panels and stuff, the door, I think that adds realism where there's kind of a gradation of values. It's not just a flat kind of thing. Very interesting. Okay. Oof. So let me check. Yep, Photoshop. I mean, he could have used 3D, by the way. But who knows? And again, he's pretty good with blending the photos, because obviously there are some photos here, I think. And he does this is not very painterly in the sense that there are a lot of kind of hair breaks in the kind of edges. He likes to keep it kind of clean and tight in the sense that not detailed, but the shapes are very clear. And okay, next. Oof. Okay, so he says here that he only used Photoshop. I think perhaps, is it possible? Sure. I mean, fuck. I mean, if you look at this, I mean, you would think he used 3D, right? But again, he's pretty convincing with the rendering. Again, with the lights and stuff, the gradation of light is not very kind of flat. The reflections. I mean, this could just be a mirror. I mean, it's not even exact, right? So he probably just used a kind of like he just flipped the entire thing. You know what I mean? Maybe. Shit. Wow. Although when it comes to my work, I wouldn't. I'm not going to do something like this. Because I feel like I'm not going to have as much fun. I mean, it will look cool like this one, definitely, if I keep kind of working on stuff like this. But I do want to be more painterly with my work and be more impressionistic. But I do find this impressive, and I do like it for the blending aspect. I mean, come on, dude. Again, he says Photoshop. Fuck. Okay. This one, I can tell this is more Photoshop because I can actually see the photo bashing and it's more clear compared to this one where it's kind of hard to tell what he photo bashed anymore. So, yep. So this is a kind of a view from the interior out the window, and you can kind of see kind of an overhang, a cantilever type of thing, and yeah, you can actually see some of the blurs in the photo because he did kind of expand it probably to make it fit. But he is also this is also some kind of leveling work with the adjustment layer where he makes this part right here darker than the one on top, so you can kind of see that this guy, this kind of dark thing, it's closer to you, and there's sort of this atmosphere of you can kind of feel the atmosphere of depth because usually the further things are out, the kind of lighter it is, or the more grayed out it is compared to something that's closer to you. It's more contrasted and yeah. So this is another kind of interior concept, and again, he says, according to him, Photoshop. So fuck. Damn. Fuck. Oh, I love the kind of skylight right there. Wow, and the kind of wet part here. And he showed the kind of reflection of the skylight. Damn, bro. Bro. And you can kind of see that I think he really did just kind of used Photoshop for this one. Maybe he did a very simple line sketch and then he just photo bashed and then painted everything to kind of clean up the edges and stuff and add the kind of lighting gradients and effects. Christ. Jag, just to be safe. Oh. According to him, Photoshop. I mean, maybe he did use some kind of blender or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's because he's pretty good with the kind of reflections and stuff, the kind of soft light reflections, that it actually looks very convincing. I mean, look at that, bro. And maybe this is why he did kind of decrease the size of this thing, of the image, to kind of tighten things up, because it's not meant to be viewed in a kind of full screen mode. So maybe he did really paint this, and maybe he is just that good. And I do think so, because you'll see more in his work. It's going to be kind of less tight compared to this, but you'll see that he's still able to blend things together pretty well. Shit. Yeah, I think this can't be 3D or 2D. Okay, and but again, he does say it's Photoshop, so I'll take his word. So this is more of his thing, where you can see the kind of brushes are very kept simple, some texture, very minimal texture, but most of the kind of planes are very, very kind of clean in terms of the way it's painted and stuff. Drag it. Maybe he did do some kind of no 3D Photoshop. Okay. Makes sense. So this is more of a concept thing, I guess. It's a little more sketchy, but he does convey the idea pretty well. It's kind of a sea base. Oh, I love the atmosphere here. So it's kind of foggy. And you can see with the light, he just kind of added some kind of blobs. Bup. So I think the only thing that's kind of a photo here is the water, and you can see the kind of blur and stuff. Everything else is kind of just painted, I think. Maybe some texture here. some kind of photo bash here, maybe. And you can see often the kind of corner reflections of light, and I think it does help make things more realistic. And again, the further things are back, the more grayed out it is. Wait, did I save that? I did. Okay, I did. Oh shit, so this one is also Photoshop apparently. I think it's quite possible. You can just copy the whole thing, right? And just decrease the size as you go. Yeah, I think this is Photoshop. But again, if you kind of see this from afar, you would probably think this was 3D. Do I want aspects of that in my work? I think so. Not so much, but I think 3D can help with the realism. And I think what 3D can do is it's pretty good with the lighting, I guess. So adding all sorts of kind of soft gradients, I think, can help make things more realistic. Although I wouldn't want to go as clean as this guy, just a kind of style preference. But I do like the way he conveys realism. And again, this is obviously... Again, I can't tell. Okay, it's Photoshop. Just Photoshop. And here you can actually see a bit of the kind of painterliness of his work. Did I save that? I did. Oh, so this one is more... You can see it a little more in these kinds of... in the following paintings or illustrations, you'll see more of this kind of thing. Did he use texture here? Maybe a few stuff. A few kind of texture stuff. But most of it, I think, is painted. I would love to see his process, though. If he had kind of a tutorial or PSD kind of walkthrough of his kind of Photoshop file, I think it would be very, very helpful and intriguing. So yeah, and you can kind of see with the kind of strings or ropes or kind of stuff, cables, and the lights, it's pretty much just painted. And some kind of motion blur to suggest the kind of rain. Look at the kind of a flare right there. And here you can see it in the kind of railings and stuff. For this stuff, for the flooring, he did use some kind of texture. I'm not sure what this is called. It's kind of a common kind of metal texture for flooring and stuff. But you can see the kind of painterly stuff in the rails, the way he added the lights. And even the actual railing themselves, it's kind of a dash of paint. And here you can see more of that right here. So this is a great, for me, a great kind of depiction of a concept, I think. I mean, of course, I'm thinking of style, so I do like it in terms of style. And it does make sense, I think, to convey the concept in this kind of... it doesn't have to be fully rendered, right? You know what? This is a little more rendered. I would be more painterly and impressionistic, probably. Oh, did he use 3D here? Nope, photo bash, I guess. And I think this is some kind of photo. Then he simply kind of painted over it to make sense. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Fuck me. And again, you can kind of see the kind of painterliness in some of his stuff. And this is most likely some kind of photo bash right here. Texture, kind of text. Some texture here in the ground. Oh, and you can see... Gosh, it's so good though. And again, it looks pretty realistic if you kind of zoom out. But even in this kind of, it's almost a full screen mode. You can kind of see that, wow, it's pretty convincing. And even with this kind of door thing, you can see that it's painted. Fuck. Oof, wow. Wait, did I drag the previous one? Okay. So this is, let's see if he did use, oh, he did use nothing. He used Photoshop only. And if you focus on the chairs and really focus, if you kind of, can we zoom in? Oh no, we can't. It's kind of pretty close to the original size. You can kind of see that this thing is painted, right? Especially with this one. Here he kind of left it kind of not really complete with the painting. And even here in kind of the side of the chair, it's left very abstract or impressionistic. The same with the frames. Okay, I can see it. So maybe he did use some photos for the frames and then simply kind of painted over it to make it more fit the whole thing. And fuck. You can even see in the kind of chair here, and the chairs in general, it's painted. Hey, I'm back. I'm sorry for the kind of cut there, but my laptop actually froze, and I was actually kind of scared because maybe the recording wasn't going to be recorded. But thankfully, Camtasia saved me. It did have a kind of backup thing. And anyway, so let's proceed to the next thing here. Oof, and this is kind of my favorite piece of his because you can tell that it's not exactly super accurate. However, the way it's blended all together, I think that's the appeal. And it does have that concept art feel to it. And yeah, I think it did use a few photos or textures at the very least. But for the most part, he did kind of paint the major panels and stuff, the major kind of blocks. I think it's all painted. And yeah, this is kind of the level of photo bashing, or the kind of maximum level of kind of realism that I would go for. So it's not exactly fully realistic, but it does capture the kind of light effects and a lot of suggestibility with the textures and stuff, especially with the kind of gradation of values. So this is a kind of a space elevator for kind of a personal project of his, and this is what I saw before in Deviant Art. This kind of mood, color mood variations, and I was actually pretty impressed then, and I'm kind of glad I found this guy eventually, and it's really cool. I mean, look at the way, it's not even that detailed, but for the major kind of silhouettes and stuff, he did capture it, and it's pretty good again with the kind of lighting and stuff. He knows where to put it, and it's not even overdone. It's kind of just enough for a piece like this, and I love the kind of glow here. Again, his lighting stuff technique is pretty nice. I mean, not only does he capture the kind of lights from the ships and stuff, the kind of guide lights or something, but also the sun, the kind of glare, the interiors. I mean, he does everything, and I think this is a kind of good summation of his. Or if you had one piece to show, it could be this, because he does show off all of his kind of skills, and even some basic photo bashing in the foreground. Yeah, he's pretty good. So this is more of a futuristic city. and it does have a step-by-step process. So it starts apparently with the grays, with a kind of a grayscale painting, perhaps some kind of a color pass, maybe through blending mode and stuff. Yeah, you know what? Let's drag these to the side so I can reference them in the future. And then after doing a basic color pass, because he hasn't actually changed anything from the grayscale to this guy. So after doing a basic color pass to kind of get the gist or the mood here, he started to kind of photo bash everything else. And again, for the building in the back, this kind of humongous kind of thick building, he used some kind of basic texture. And yeah, interesting. And for this building, he just again photo bashed the whole thing, a bunch of buildings put together, and some textures as well. And he left some of that kind of a painterliness of it there. So this is kind of a great concept art, because it's not fully rendered, but it does get the concept out. I like it. So this one's a carnival haunted house. He does have a kind of a sketch process here. He did multiple thumbnails, and you know what? I do like the thumbnails. Let me drag that to this side. Okay, and then after that, he just colored it, and then ta-da. Now this one's more cartoony. I guess it depends again on the project. So, yep. So this one's a Gotham City concept. I do like it. Oh yeah, Batman. Makes sense. And again, it's pretty good with the lighting, the kind of moon lighting in the background, the kind of atmosphere to kind of signify the buildings behind, the kind of skyline. And again, some major kind of lights here in the bottom where the kind of street lights are. Very cool. So this is a Batman Arkham Origins Theater entrance concept art. I like it. Again, it's pretty good with the lighting, and you can tell he does paint a lot of the bits of highlights here and there. And again, it's very impressionistic, which I do like, the painterliness of it. And again, he loves adding the kind of reflections on the floor, and of course the kind of gradient lighting. It just adds more a nice soft gradation of values, and it does add a little bit of realism in the art, right? So this one's a penguin office. What? Again, a Batman Arkham Origins. So maybe this is some kind of interior space in a game. Is this a game? I think it's a game, right? Look at that. So there's some point of some photo bashing, I guess. You can see some of the blurs in this globe, so he kind of expanded this globe a bit. But again, he doesn't let the photos dictate or decide how the image will end up. He's largely in control, which I like. And again, you can tell that it's more painterly than photo bashed. So I think there is a nice kind of ownership there of the work. And again, the lighting, like the way he did the kind of what's this called? It's kind of a set, a kind of prep set for show people and stuff. And he also added some kind of reflection in the mirror and a nice kind of gradient light right there. And a nice bright light here. This could be some kind of skylight, perhaps. Okay. So this is a concept for the Batcave in Batman Arkham Origins. Now this one is actually more, way more painterly, especially in this area. Well, not just here, everything, actually. And although I do feel this kind of platform is kind of small, but maybe it's just a kind of temporary platform. But I do like the kind of mood of the thing, and there's kind of a complementary thing going on. There's the kind of cool side here and kind of the warm side here. So it's very interesting. Oh, the same goes for this. There's kind of a cool side right here, and then it kind of turns into, or becomes warm. Again, I love the painterliness of it. It's not so photo bashy that it looks kind of dry. It looks pretty concepty to me. And again, I love the kind of lighting. He was able to kind of add some kind of shadows from the chandeliers, kind of broken and stuff. And again, the kind of light sources here and there. He knows how to kind of make them glowy. Duh. And he does add a few reflections. There's some kind of water here. And yeah, it's a great piece. I haven't actually seen this before. It's been a while since I've visited his portfolio. Wow. Wait, did I drag the previous one? I did. Wow. So I guess he plays with the kind of cools and warms again. Or, not again, because there's some kind of cool thing going on here from the sky, and then the kind of stores are warmer in temperature. And again, very painterly. He's not very kind of tight, which I do like. You can even see in here with the kind of painterliness of the edges. Okay. Very impressionistic. Oof. So this is a kind of a boat hallway for Batman Arkham Origins as well. And again, he loves adding the kind of flares, the kind of spectacles. Spectacles or sparkles? Oh shit. This little things, particles, right? Nice. And again, it's kept very impressionistic, not very detailed, but it looks so rich, right? Full, even. So maybe this is the kind of thing I do want to apply, especially in my work. I want it to be more full, but not exactly detailed. Right? And again, warms here, cools here. Oof. So this is a boat predator room or something. Another Batman Arkham Origins concept. Yep, this looks like this is some kind of photo bash, obviously, and then he painted over it. I love this part. It's kind of his workstation stuff, and everything else is. He does have a lot of light sources here, and this could be just done in overlay or color dodge mode. But yeah, so this is some kind of photo, obviously. But he was able to blend it well, which is... Even the photo bashing isn't even that clean, but it's enough. But because of his painting, he does blend everything well together. And I love how he added that kind of light source in the bottom of the face. So this could be some kind of statue in the real world, and then he just kind of distorted it in a way, and then added the light source thing in the bottom. Christ. Oof. So this one's more of a... I actually need to do more kind of top-down perspectives where I'm looking down instead of always looking at kind of the man's eye view and stuff. Well done. Very impressionistic again. Multiple light sources, gradation of values, soft gradation of values, impressionistic strokes, nice textures here and there. Shit. Fuck. So this is another Batman Arkham Origins concept. Again, you can see the kind of painterliness, especially everywhere, actually. And it's very interesting, actually. Oof. Batman. So maybe he did use 3D. Let's check. Nope, he did not. I love it. Oof. So this is a kind of Venom hallway lab. Look at that, he just kind of copied the same thing again. And then these kind of green parts are probably on an individual layer, and then he just used the clipping mask to kind of add the glow specifically on those stuff. Maybe. Oh yeah, he did copy it here, here, here. But again, I love the mood. So this one is in grayscale. So maybe he does it in grayscale first. I'm not sure. But it's very interesting. I do have trouble coloring from grayscale. I mean, I can kind of get I can do a kind of a big color pass, but to kind of color individually, I'm still not in that kind of I'm still not proficient in that kind of thing. Ooh. Oh, another Venom lab concept. Venom lab concept for Batman. There's a lot going on here, but again, if you kind of focus on kind of a specific area, it's very impressionistic. Okay. I love the smokes. Damn. So maybe, oh, he did not use 3D for this one. Or maybe he did. Again, I'm not sure. It does say he did only use Photoshop in the kind of software used area, so whatever. Another Batman kind of thing. Oh shit, this is kind of a smelting area. Foundry. Nice, I do like the effects and stuff. I think, is it a photo? Maybe. This one's a photo, I'm sure. Yep. Lots of photo bashing here. You can even see it here. It's kind of blurred because it's kind of expanding it a little more. So some character stuff. Asian Arena. Nice. He doesn't actually do a lot of characters. At least based on his portfolio, he focuses a lot more on environmental kind of stuff. By the way, I'm sorry for today if I feel or if I sound a little kind of muddled. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. Bad day, I think. Yeah, so this is some kind of keyframe, I guess. Wow. So sketch, color pass, paint. Oh, he flipped it. Nice. Excuse him. What? Oh fuck. Okay, so this is a. Wow, I do love these. They're more concepty actually. And these, okay. Okay. So again, I think he did. This is more Batman stuff. So he does a lot of. I've never actually done this kind of thing in concept art. It's more of a design kind of thing, and I'm not sure if I'm really into the whole design thing. Like kind of like this. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm more of a painter, but design is something you can't really avoid because you'll eventually have to design something. So I do love these though, the thumbnails. These are kind of thumbnail types of painting, but speed paintings, but they do kind of tell the idea quickly. And let me just drag. Oh, I did. Okay. Damn. And again, this one is very impressionistic. You can actually see the strokes way more in this one. This could be some kind of storyboard sequence or keyframe sequence. Again, he uses some kind of solid brush. It's not very it doesn't spread out as much like an oil type brush. It's more tight or more blocky, I guess. A blocky kind of brush. He does use photo bash here a bit for the background, and then he paints on top of that, right? Even here, a little bit. Wow. Okay. So this one's more cartoony. Okay. Same kind of approach, I guess. Same here. Same kind of approach, but for a different project, I guess. Wow, this one's kind of fisheye. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of distorted. It's kind of a fisheye. Yep, grayscale and then painted. Okay. So he does a lot of kind of cartoony stuff. Maybe according to the kind of descriptions, they're kind of 3D animated films. Now this one is personal concept. They're actually kind of cute. Beep, 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 beep. So this one is a personal concept of his, the little house on the high hill. So we have a cute house here and a nice hill. This one is a little more painterly because you can see kind of it's not a broad kind of flat brush, right? Sorry. So Three Rocks Island, personal concept. Ooh. Very interesting. So he starts out with a kind of pure black and white. Can we zoom in? Nice. Pure black and white. And then paints over that. And then once he can kind of decide on one, he can develop that even more. Oh, okay. Very interesting. And this kind of process helps you to explore more ideas quickly and to kind of filter out the kind of bad ones or the not so good ones, and then find the kind of best composition idea to kind of work on more, right? So this one's way more developed. A bit of photo bashing here and there. So I think this comes from this. I think. Yep. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Oh, a lot of motion blur for the snow. Oh, he did another set. Okay. So pure blacks and whites, and then he did some kind of color pass. Very nice. Very nice. And they're all under the same kind of color scheme. Yeah, cool stuff. And then he picked one to develop more. Okay. Dark forest stuff. Maybe he did some thumbnails. I bet you he did some thumbnails. Oh, he did! I knew it. Drag. This one's a little photo bashy though. Not as painted. Right? But it's still well blended, right? This one's a little more painted, I think. And again, he did the whole kind of thumbnail thing. Wow, I think I'll be doing this more. Kind of start with the kind of blacks and whites, pure black and whites. Because the kind of past recent thumbnails I did was kind of, it did have a black and white, but it had a few grays in the middle. So I think this helps to kind of see the bigger picture and then do kind of color passes later on. Okay. It will be done. It will be done. So this is for some kind of 3D animated film. Same. So personal sketch of a Viking. So he does a few characters, I guess. Very rarely though, in his portfolio. Nice. So he did a sketch for the game Far Cry New Dawn. This is Photoshop right there. Oh shit, SketchUp I think. Yeah, I think he did use SketchUp for this one. Did he? Well, he says it's only Photoshop, so maybe for the most part he used Photoshop. I do like it though. So we will copy. This could be some kind of custom shape right here. So another Far Cry concept. This one's more painted. And I do like seeing work like this. Where it's more... where the painting kind of takes over the photo bash. So it doesn't look very kind of collagey. Another Far Cry thing. It's a very positive environment though. Even though... I think it's because of the colors. Another Far Cry concept. Some kind of biome place. Far Cry New Dawn opening. Okay, photo bash. Lots of photo bash. Not very painterly, but still awesome. Still awesome. So this one's a personal piece, a kind of sketch. Yep, way more painterly. And this one's, you can actually see the kind of hair strands of the brush. And the not so clean edges. And again, he likes doing ships. Personal sketch. Oof, I do like this. It's kind of Star Wars-ish. And almost okay, yeah. Ooh, personal concept. This reminds me of the kind of Arrival film. I do like this one. This one's more painterly. Personal concept art. Oh, I think he will develop this even more in a kind of later piece. Very nice. And you can see with the strokes, if you kind of focus on a specific part, it's not even that, finely tuned. It's very playful and impressionistic. This is what I'm going for, I guess. Or this is what appeals to me in his kind of work, the kind of the boldness in his painting. Even this one, wow. Maybe some kind of photo bash in the kind of beginning, and then he painted over that. Wow. Compared to Sparth, Eric is more painterly, I think, or more confident in the painting. Sparth is more shape guy. He likes shapes and stuff. I mean, he can paint, but anyway. Oh wow! Look at that. Oops, I skipped one. Oh, this one is actually very sparse, like the kind of because usually sparse does like doing his illustrations in the kind of same kind of viewpoint. And I do want to. I don't always want to do that kind of thing because it can become boring. You know what I mean? Although Spark from time to time he'll do kind of top-down views and stuff, which does add more variety in his work. But again, yeah. Um, wow. Did I drag that? I did. Okay. Personal concept. Nice. So he has a process. Okay. Line. Some shadow. Gray values. Establishing the kind of the atmosphere, I guess. And then color. And then more color. Okay. So this is some kind of ship concept, and again, look at his strokes right here. It's very very impressionistic, and it's not even that clear or clean, but it gets the job done. Some photos right here in the foreground, and some mini ships, and some kind of a village down there, and some kind of atmospheric clouds or fog. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, so this is the more developed thing, I guess. Wow, look at that. Even the people are kind of painted and stuff. The kind of machines, the ships and stuff. Wow. Look at that. There's so much going on. I mean, for the background, it's actually kept simple, and as the kind of ship in the back is less detailed compared to the ones in front. Shit, man, that is beautiful. I think I made this a cover. Yeah, I think this is the cover for the thumbnail. Oh wow, look at that. Yeah, more of this in my work. Yeah, not so tight, but very kind of full. I guess because there's so many variations. There's a kind of soft gradation of lighting, of values, because of the kind of soft gradient brushes. The kind of multiple strokes. It's very gouache-like in nature, I guess. And again, a kind of complementary temperature between the cools and the warms. I think it's very common in his work. Okay. Okay, wow. So this is his recent piece posted 4 months ago. So this guy is probably busy. So yeah, this one is actually more painterly, which I do like. Not very clean, not very tight. And he does, if it's kind of in the shadow part, he just leaves it closer to the kind of silhouette version. And for the parts that hit light, it's a little more definitive. So we'll stop there, obviously, because that's where this is his last kind of piece in his portfolio. And I do hope, or please check out Eric Gagnon's ArtStation. Be a follower. Follow his work if you want. Don't be a follower. And I do apologize if my voice is a little. Fuck. Fuck me. This is a bad day. Kind of a bad day. Not really, but yeah. So after this post, or tomorrow, I will be posting the kind of, I believe, the next second episode of the art log series, and I'll be updating you with my recent portfolio work. So hopefully after, oh yeah, by the way, after I do the art log tomorrow, the kind of video, I'll be taking a break, kind of a 1 day break, and then I'll repeat the kind of art review process. It's not really a break, it's a break from this. I have to work on another thing, because this is a time for work, because fuck, these are trying times. And I hope you have a good day, and yeah.